Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today, we're going to be looking at prepaid consulting services and consulting services expense and those adjusting entries that surround it. So this is copyright myself, the accounting professor, Bennett Tchaikovsky. Any redistribution is expressly prohibited without my prior written consent. Opinions expressed herein are those of the authors only and do not represent those of IVC or the South Orange County Community College District. And IVC is Irvine Valley College, ranked number 6 nationally by Wallet Hub in 2024. We're an amazing college, but I'm completely biased when I say that, so you need to do your own research. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we're now going to be looking at consulting services expense. So for this right over here, I hire a consultant. The consultant will provide services at a rate of $9,000 per month, and I pay the consultant $27,000. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our fun stuff right over here. So when I go through and basically first part over here on 8/1/24, again, I'm paying cash of 27,000. I'm debiting over here, prepaid consulting services. And this is going to be on 8/1/24. Why is it prepaid? Because I have not yet received the benefit of it yet as of when I pay that cash. If I pay the cash, it's going to create either a prepaid. If I'm receiving it, it's going to create an unearned revenue. If I'm performing future services, or in this case, I'm going to be receiving them. So that's going to be my first part of the entry. So now for the second part, and by the way, prepaid consulting services as an asset. It's like prepaid insurance. I'm paying for something I haven't received the benefit of. How do I increase an asset? I do so with a debit. For every debit I need a credit, my cash is going down. I show a decrease to cash with a credit. So when we're going through and preparing our adjusting entries, we have to ask ourselves the following questions. Do revenues reflect what we've earned? Do expenses reflect what we've used? Do our assets reflect their future economic benefit? Do our liabilities reflect our future obligations? So let's do this here. The real question becomes, as of 12/31/24, how many months did I receive the benefit of the consultant's services? Well, this consultant basically provided work for me from 8/1/24 through 12/31/24, August, September, October, November, December, 5 months. So this is going to be 5 months at $9,000 per month, or a total of $45,000. So when you get this kind of question, we want to make sure that the revenue or expense is correct first. We're going to record consulting services expense, and this is going to be for $45,000 for ARL. Okay, so over here, this is my first part of my adjustment. So I'm going to debit consulting services expense. I've used their services for 5 months. I therefore need to record an expense to reflect the usage. How do I record an expense? I do so with a debit. Now, over here, right, we never touch cash. We're going to leave cash alone. However, when I look at this, okay, I got $45,000 of consulting services expense. What do I credit? Well, do I credit accounts payable for $45,000? That answer is going to be a big no. Why is that going to be a big no? Because I've already paid for some of these services. So similar to the last question we just looked at with relating to unearned revenue, my real question is, well, if I got $45,000 worth of services, I paid cash of 27,000. How much do I really owe? Well, the amount I really owe is for 2 months of services or $18,000. So what I'm going to go through and do is to say, well, my do I really have any value left in this prepaid consulting services? And the answer is no, because I've used up all three of these months, or 27 divided by 9 is 3. I've used all these up. So I need to credit the prepaid consulting services, right? So this is going to be part of my adjustment. Now, my problem is I'm not done yet. I've got 45,000 of debits, 27,000 of credits. I need another credit for 18,000. And what is this going to go to? This is going to go to accounts payable. Now, why does this make sense? Well, what type of account is accounts payable? It's a liability. When I do my adjusting entries, my assets need to show their future economic benefit, liabilities, my future obligations, my expenses, what I've used, revenues, what I've earned, and I never touch cash. So as of right now, I got $45,000 worth of services, but I only paid for 27,000 of them. So I owe 18,000, or a liability, which is going to be my accounts payable. Do my assets reflect their future economic benefit? Well, by me crediting the prepaid consulting services, this balance now goes down to 0. So this, in fact, does. And do my expenses reflect what I've used? And this is why we kind of go back to it, is start with the expense, start with a revenue, and let everything else flow, because the revenue or the expense needs to be correct. That's where I would call kind of like the driver. So in any event, I want to thank you for being here with me today, and I look forward to seeing you on future videos. By the way, if you have an instructor that's a stickler for doing things as a journal entry, right? So if we do 12, 31, 24, I'm going to debit consulting services expense over here. For every debit, I need credits. So I credited accounts payable. Now, when I credited accounts payable for 18,000 and I credited prepaid consulting services, notice the indentation between the debits and the credits on the number side. Accordingly, I also have to indent the descriptions. This is something I'm extremely particular about for my classes. And then I would need a description to record, to adjust consulting services expense. Why not? Sounds good. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you on the next video, and have a great one.